What's up guys, I'm Chirag and welcome to part 15 of the tutorial series on Python basics tutorial. In this tutorial, I'm going to cover the continue and break statement in Python. So ideally the continue and break statement is used to alter the flow of any loop, right? So here we will take an example of the for loop, right? So let's try to understand the same with an for loop example. So I will define a list. I will say example list equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we will define a for loop. I will say for element in a list, that is example underscore list. Now here I want to say if element double equal to 3, then I want to continue. And here I will say outside the if statement, print element comma element. Correct. And finally outside the for loop I will say print done. Now here what will happen is whenever element becomes 3, whenever this condition on line number 9 becomes true, it will go inside that if condition and it will say continue. So what continue will do is it will skip the rest of the code execution and it will continue with the next iteration of the loop, right? So let's have a look. Let's run this first. So we'll say python 3 break continue.py, right? And here as you can see we have the outcome, that is element 1, element 2, and directly we have element 4 and 5. So we don't have the print for the element 3, right? Because what happened is that whenever the element becomes 3, this condition becomes true and then it will say continue. So what it will do is it will skip the current iteration and it will skip the execution of the code after the continue statement. That is, it will skip the print statement, right? And then it will continue with the next loop. So that is basically the continue statement. So by definition, we can say that the continue statement can be used to skip the execution of the rest of the code after the continue statement for the current iteration, right? Generally, it does not terminate or exit the loop, but it will skip the current iteration and continue with the next iteration. So that's basically the continue statement. Now let's try to understand the break statement. So we will consider the same example. So here we will simply say break instead of continue. Now let's run this first. Clear. I will run it again. So here as you can see we have only two print statements, that is 1 and 2, right? So basically what break does is it exits the loop. It terminates the loop basically. So what had happened here is that it ran successfully for 1 and 2, that is for 2 iteration, right? Because the condition on line number 9 is basically checking for whether the element is 3 or not. If it is 3, then break the loop. It means terminate the loop, right? So that's what happened here. So it ran for first element, it ran for second element, and for the third element, the condition on line number 9 evaluates to true and it went inside that if condition and it executed the break statement and it had basically as a consequence terminated the loop, right? So this is how break statement works. So by definition, we can say that we can use the break statement to terminate the loop at certain condition or however, right? So that's basically break and continue statement in Python. So that's all I wanted to cover in this tutorial. And as usual, if you want me to do tutorial on any use case or service, then please leave them below and I will try my best to come up with the tutorial as soon as possible. And if you have any queries or comments, then again please leave them below. And don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, and see you next time.